So I'm going to do a little bit of information, and then
Okay.
we'll get to some of the healing modalities, and you have a choice to sit or lie down. It's totally up to you.
Okay,
It doesn't necessary to lie down, just so you know. So if that you feel compelled to do it, that's fine. Some people sleep, so they don't like to do that.
Well, I just woke up. Hopefully that won't happen, but it can be really, really possibility.
Yes, it can. Okay, so let's get started. Releasing the root. So this is an intimate group, and many of you don't know me, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of intro to me before we get started. I've been in the wellness industry for over 30 years, originally a massage therapist, and I knew something was missing. So I knew the body. I was coaching as I was treating, not knowing that it was coaching, because the industry hadn't really taken off until I'd say the 2000s, maybe even later than that. And so I kept thinking like there's a mindset piece that was the missing piece. And so I wanted to work with psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, so that they could do the body work and then they could do the mindset work and the trauma healing and such. And I couldn't find anybody who was wanting or willing to do that. So I decided to educate myself and inform myself on how to do mindset work. I did it for myself, and then I've been doing it with my clients. And then I realized also the other missing piece was energetics.
Yes.
And so it's important, and oftentimes it is the missing piece. Many people have not taken it on yet, and honestly I'd been doing it for a long time and I just didn't own it for a long time. So I didn't want to be seen as too woo-woo and out there and all that kind of stuff, so I kind of kept it to myself. Even though I was treating and helping my clients with it, I wasn't labeling it, and I wasn't labeling myself. So now I'm owning it, and I've been owning it for the last couple of years. I'm originally from Toronto, and I now live in the Caribbean with my daughters. And a year ago, in February, on the 14th, ironically, I divorced my husband, my narcissistic husband of 23 years. And we're finalizing things and getting things done. And gratefully, with all this work that I do for others, I also do for myself. So I live by example, and I've been able to gracefully manage my SX narcissist. And if you have any experience with narcissists, gracefully is not usually the word that you use to interact with them.
Indeed.
And so I really encourage that if you have any questions along the way, just leave them in the chat.
Okay.
And Jennifer, because it's just you and I, if you want to just, interrupt me and say, I have a question, you're welcome to do that. If others join us, then they will start having using the chat a little bit more. So let me ask you one thing first. How long have you been unwell? And why did you say yes to joining me today?
Yeah, so I'm not muted. Okay. So I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis when I was 25. And this was back in 1993. There were no medications. And I was told I'd be in a wheelchair in about 10 years. I had times I could not see. I had times I could not walk. And the doctor's like, oh, let's just wait and see what happens, which sounded like terrible advice. So that basically started me on this whole, healing journey, healing emotionally, physically, spiritual journey. I tried every modality out there. I wound up being particularly fascinated by mind-body medicine, wrote a dissertation on mind-body medicine, been doing mindset coaching for a very long time. But more recently, I really discovered the body, like mind body. I totally forgot about the body and the role of trauma. And it took it took some big traumas in my 40s to realize, gosh, I got to get my body involved here. And I got into nervous system regulation and things like that. So a long time, the short answer, Tina.
Yeah. And it's a process. So, you know, it can take a long time. It doesn't have to take a long time. Now, your diagnosis was back when a lot of this kind of work wasn't available or wasn't
Right.
really well known, so it's understandable. And unfortunately, the conventional modern medicine is live with it and manage the symptoms.
That's right.
And I don't agree with that personally. I've seen my clients heal from cancer, heal from heart disease, heal from so many things. So I believe with everything in my being that you can heal. There's no question. And there's lessons to be learned, and it's an opportunity for us to heal, as you realize. And it's an all-encompassing thing. It's not just one piece of the puzzle. And this is where a lot of therapists out there miss the mark, in my opinion. Is it they deal with the mind but they don't, or the body but they don't deal with the mind, or they deal with the body but they don't deal with the energy work. And it really is a whole piece, and it's spiritual as well. And a lot of people miss that piece. And there's an inner connection. There's a part of us that is, there's an inner physician, and we've got to use our bodies and work with our bodies. So it just makes sense. And again, it's missing pieces for a lot of people, unfortunately. So if you've tried everything and you still feel stuck, you're in fear, pain, or you've got reoccurring illness, you're not broken. That's the first thing, because many of us, and including myself, make ourselves wrong, like that we're doing something or we're not doing something, and we get ruminating in our heads that we should be doing something better or something different or whatever. And maybe that's the case. And maybe it's not, and we've just got to be a little more patient. Sometimes that's part of the piece. Consistency is definitely a part of the piece. I did a master class a couple weeks ago, and one of the ladies said, "Oh, you said something that really kind of struck me." And she said, "I've been doing things, but I do them for like a week and nothing's changed. Then I move on." And I responded to her by saying this: it took you this many years to get to where you are. It's going to take you more than a week to get you where you want to be, which is healthy and strong and thriving again, right? So it's not going to, it shouldn't take years, in my opinion. It could. It depends on you, obviously. You're a part of the equation. And if you're working with somebody, generally speaking, it could take 3 to 6 months. And that is generally my experience. And some people, we're human beings and we're really interesting because things are working. And so we then drop the habits that created the things we're working, and then we fall back. And so it's just, we've got to be consistent with these things. This is a lifestyle change. And again, I've been guilty of this. So I'm not, there's no judgment or guilt in any of this. This is just awareness. So your body.
Can I interject that? So the diagnosis scared me very much. So I was totally motivated, and I changed. Like I said, I tried every alternative modality out there. I changed my diet. I started exercising. So I have been relatively healthy for most of it, and only now that I'm starting to have like, you know, some, they say MS is sort of a hidden disease, like the disability you don't know about it until like you have it, you know. And so I'm experiencing some of that. I'm wondering, can your process also help with, like, I feel like my bigger pain point is less about physical health and more about financial health and well-being. Does this process also help with, could that process also help with that, I mean?
Yeah, so speak a little bit more, give me more context.
Yeah, sure. So, for example, I mean, like, I have 3 masters and a PhD. I should be earning a decent salary. And I was. And then ever since I had these traumas in my 2 really big setbacks in my 40s, it's like I've been floundering, and I struggle to make, 30,000 a year or something sometimes.
Right.
So it's embarrassing.
Okay,
I'm very
so
ashamed of it.
right. So this is the piece, right? So
Mhm.
when we wrap emotions around the experience, that's what's keeping you in that stuck energy. So
Got it.
the embarrassment, the what the fuck, like why has this happened? I shouldn't be here. You know, those kinds of experiences and those kinds of thoughts will
Mhm.
keep in that energy because the emotion, it amplifies things. And so then there's the law of attraction that I work with as well, and law of manifestation. So if you're focused on the fact that you should be, and
Mhm.
the should is something that should be taken out of our vocabulary because it's a hard, fast, there's
Yeah.
guilt behind it, there's the goal setting behind it. And that if we don't meet it, then we make it mean something
Yes, definitely.
when we go wrong. And this is where we falter because so law of manifestation, we're getting a little ahead, but it's okay. Law of manifestation, my understanding of the equation is your belief. So your belief is that you should be far more advanced, you should be making more money, that there's guilt and shame around the fact that you've got all this education and you're not, and you're this and you're that. And then you have your desire. Well, the belief is so wobbly that you're going to take action from the belief.
Mhm.
So strong. And so when you take action from that place, then what are you going to manifest? Less money, more things to be shameful, guilty of, feeling awful. It's just going to show up in our lives. It's just like the law of gravity. You drop a ball, it's going to fall. Like we don't doubt this. This is the same thing with manifestation. So we can manifest for the good and we can manifest for the bad. And the good news is it's all about us. It all starts and ends with us. There's no doubt in our minds that it is from us. Now, there's doubt when we're starting this, but not necessarily. Oh, did I not record? Yeah, I recorded. Okay. Just
It
make
shows
sure.
it's recording on my end.
So we just want to keep doing the process and not make anything mean anything. So I was diagnosed with precancer cells, I think 3 different times, and I didn't make it mean anything. I had my tears, I had my moments of disappointment and frustration and aggravation over the fact that it was happening again and again and again. And then I was diagnosed with some abnormal tissue in my left breast. And I had lots of tears on that one because the way the doctor spoke, he was pretty sure it was cancer. And I was determined that it wasn't going to be after the initial shock of it all. And so I went into my body and I just trusted my body could do it. Now we need to trust ourselves again. This is part of the piece as well. Is we usually as women, and if we've got children, we put ourselves on the list at the bottom, or don't put ourselves on the list at all. And so we have to get back to us. And this is what I did in my experiences is I focused on me like I've never focused on me. I made sure I was eating well, I was sleeping well, and this was even before I understood the energy work and the mindset work. And I just knew I could do this. And so I had my surgery. I went to the ultrasound doctor like a month or 2 afterwards as a follow-up. And he still, to this day, every time he sees me and reads his notes, he just shakes his head and goes, I don't know. I thought for sure.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Right? So this is the power of the body and the mind and focus of on us. And this is the important piece is it's all encompassing, and we're just kind of, some of us just have the bits and pieces, but we're not putting it all together. And some of us do, and I've done this. I've taken one area of my life and I focus on that, and things get better in that area. I kind of drop the focus on that area and I go to another area and I focus on that area, but the other area kind of starts to falter a little bit. So we've got to pull it all together. We are not parts. We are a whole. We got to treat ourselves like the whole. So if the financial part is showing up, it's because there's lessons that you still need to learn. And you missed a few pieces of what that learning was about. And it could have been about patience. It could be about the fact there's 3 underlying deep-rooted things that usually come up for my clients. I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, and I'm not deserving. So one of those 3, I am certain you have felt, especially in the past, or if you've had traumas in your 40s that have made you feel like that, then there's probably an inner child piece of you that still needs to heal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So oftentimes when we're unwell, and I've seen this with my cancer clients who have they've done mastectomies and they've come back, and the breast tissue, they've done whatever they've done, either with bra or reconstruction, but the back of that same side is usually really restricted. And a lot of times it's because we reject that body part. So we're rejecting a piece of ourselves because that piece let us down.
That's right.
And we get angry with it, and we're disappointed in it, and we're frustrated with it, and blah, 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 whatever we're telling ourselves, right?
Yes.
And not helpful. So we've
Right,
got to
not at all.
we got to figure out a way to let it go, because it's self-deprecating. We're basically hurting ourselves and re-traumatizing ourselves again. So we want to put love and light back into the area. We want to be kind to the area. We want to be soft to the area, and we want to allow it to come back to the fold, is what I call it, or the collective whole. So we want to really make sure that it feels welcomed again. Now, money also wants to feel that way. We can sometimes get mad at money and we reject the money and we're disappointed in the money. And so if money is your friend or your best friend, what are you telling money? What do you think it's going to feel like? You only want it when you want it, but when you don't have it, you're mad at me all the time. So as a friend, am I going to show up? Probably not, if not for much. Right? So it's a relationship, if that makes sense. So we want to, again, love on money. Every time money comes into us, be grateful for the fact that money's coming into us in our lives, and grateful that our bills are being paid, and grateful that we have bills to pay. Because there's a lot of people in this world that do not have electricity and water and a house and a car and a this and a that to pay for. So it's just this little bit of shift sometimes where it's like, oh, okay. So if I'm not treating my body well, if I'm acting like it's the enemy, because I was talking to this lady several months ago, and she's got multiple health issues. And so she said, I'm really angry at my body. And I said, well, is your body angry at you? And she was like, what? Why would my body be angry at me? I said, well, the reason why your body is the way it is. And she was like, oh. So we forget we're a piece of the puzzle. We, the human, are a piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
We, the human, got us where we are today. So this is part of our identity as well. So what could be happening, Jennifer, is that so you got the diagnosis of MS, then you've had a few traumas. It's like a pattern now, right? So now you've got the traumas, now you've got the money piece. So there's something that's missing, and it's the pattern of you cannot have it all. Maybe there's a feeling that you don't deserve it all, or you're not worthy of it all, or you're not good enough to have it all. Because again, what can happen is that you can have the money piece, but you don't have the health piece. And you can have the health piece, but you don't have the money piece. Or you can have love, but you can't have health and money. So we're an interesting species.
Yeah, no, that sounds dead on for me. Dead on, so dead on. Because I'll tell you, I'm also I'm about to be 57 and I've never been married. I've been in lots of long-term relationships, but never married. And I've always wanted to be married. My parents, they've been married like 65 years. They have a beautiful relationship, you know. I've always wanted that. So yeah, it's I can have one or the other, but not all three. Definitely,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, so you want to tap into that and you really want to work through that. And that's part of the piece that I work with my clients is to get you back to your whole. And why not? I mean, we're meant to have it all. We were born worthy and nothing has changed. What has changed is the layers of crap that we've heard over and over again throughout our childhood, and then went from childhood to our adult years. And now the unraveling is starting. We're taking off the layers of all the crap that were laid on us as children, because we have a child's mind. And generally it forms before 7. And the child can't filter like we can. Child can't perceive like we can. So again, understand and have compassion on your inner child, because your inner child just knew what she knew. And she wasn't thinking, oh, well, you know, my mom is having a really bad day because she said, you know, get out of my way, you're distracting me, or whatever the thing is, right? I remember there was this article that I read where there was this young girl, and she's all of 5, and she goes out into the field and she's having a great day chasing butterflies, and she sees these wildflowers. So she picks these wildflowers for her mom, and she's so excited and so proud because she's thought of her mother. She comes back, mom's distracted, she's got this going on, and she, you know, the to-do list is long, and she's just really in her own head, and she's not paying attention. And her daughter's so excited, she comes up and she brings the mom the flowers that she picked. And mom looks at them and disregards them because they're wildflowers, not appreciating the fact that the child took the time. And for her, she doesn't know the difference. So mom just throws them on the table.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. I had a very similar story. I remember when I was like little, like 5 or 5, I made a card for my mom, like a birthday card or a Mother's Day card. And I gave it to her, and she told me that I was embarrassed giving her that card. I did such a poor job or something. I'm like, looking back, I think, who says that to a 5-year-old?
So our parents didn't know any better, and they were shown from their parents who were just as dysfunctional. So
I know, I'm sure. Yes, I know. By now it was even worse, I'm sure. But
right.
like, oh my gosh.
It's not we don't want to disregard what they did, because they did a lot of harm. So I don't want to belittle that. And it's also then important for us as adults to look back on that moment and go, okay, so what did I perceive that to mean? You probably perceived it to mean that you're not good enough.
Exactly.
Right. So that sticks with you, right? So then what the brain does is it looks for evidence now. And so there might be some comment that someone makes off the cuff. And, you know, kids can be mean and cruel and they say things not thinking about it, right? There's no consequence when you're a kid. You're just mean. And so then someone says something to you, or a teacher makes you feel the same way that your mom just did. And then somebody else makes you feel that way. So now you have evidence in your subconscious mind, I'm not worthy. Or I'm not good enough. And that gets locked in. So that is now running the show. And this is the beauty of the energetic work, because we work to release that and help you pull that out, because that will stay with you for a very long time. And it will keep the patterns in your field, because it's all an energetic field. If you think of your aura, the aura is surrounding our bodies. And if we've got these bits and pieces where we're projecting, because it's all about energy and the vibration and the frequency of our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, the stories that we tell ourselves, the stories we tell other people, and then our identity and our beliefs. So if we identify with our illness, which I've seen people do, which is really freaky in my opinion, because I'm like, why would you want to identify with that?
No, I'm always very careful. I'm always very careful to say I was diagnosed with MS. I never refer to myself as an MS patient, ever.
Yeah, and I remember going to Instagram one time because I was doing some research on something, and a couple of ladies in their profile, narcissistic abuse survivor, a fibromyalgia survivor, this survivor, and I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is just, you're keeping this in your field by doing this. So we don't want to connect to it. It is something that is part of our journey only. And I also have another client, and God bless her. She is so tied up in her identity as somebody who has fibromyalgia. And she tells me that her doctor told her she doesn't, because I've doubted if she has it. But she's so connected to it. And I said, the only way to break yourself from it is to disassociate yourself with it. But she's found community. And so because she's found the community of people, but they just complain, so they're not helping her. So I said, well, what's more important for you to have the community where you can moan and groan and complain about it, which if you want to do, that's your right. Or do you want to get better? Like, that is your choice. Like, what are you surrounding yourself with? What are you looking at? Who are you identifying at? So we want to see ourselves as the woman who's already healed. We want to see ourselves as the woman who's thriving. We want to see ourselves as the woman who has risen above the problem that's in our lives. Now, one of my coaches calls this a trip switch. So there's basically three in our lives: health, love, and money. And mine is money. And so I work through that as best I can. And I know that it's a trip switch. So, but I don't identify anymore. Now I used to, but so there's a lack piece there too, right? So when we identify with lack, this is again in the belief part of the desire part with the manifestation, then what are we going to create? More lack, right? Whether that's a lack of health, a lack of love, or a lack of money, or two of them, or one of them, or all three of them, right? So what part of you is identifying with lack?
Definitely the money part.
Mhm.
Definitely the money part.
Yeah.
The I don't know. I feel like I have a good mindset about the MS, because I had very early on, a coach said to me, what are the benefits to you of having this? I thought, what benefits? What do you mean benefits? There's no benefits. And then I thought about it and I realized I was getting something out of having this disease. And then I realized, well, there's healthier ways to get that, keep things, you know.
Yeah.
Like for example, the MS gave me an excuse to, like, I was always, you know, straight A student, top of the class, had to be push, go type of thing. And it was like, oh, now the MS gave me an excuse. Oh, now you don't have to like step off that hamster wheel, or that I could, or you couldn't expect too much of me now that I had this disease, you know? Crazy, right? But I mean, like, but I realized that was one of the benefits of it. And so I just realized there's, I think, again, better ways to get those, meet those needs. So I need the MS less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So bravo for you seeing that and to working through that. So when I see a lack in our lives, I see it as an opportunity to heal and to become the best version of us. So it's just a trigger, and it's blaring. Well, first it'll whisper to you. So this will be, you know, you're getting aches and pains and you're getting symptoms, and you're ignoring them. And the body will not let you ignore it for long. And then what will happen is, like Jennifer realized, you'll get MS, or you'll get cancer, or you'll get something that puts you in the hospital for a stretch of time, and you're so burnt out and exhausted that you don't know what to do. You're in brain fog. Like it can really take its toll. And we oftentimes don't regard the body, and we don't revere the body. So the body is a machine, but we are we are the driver of that machine. And we often push that machine to the breaking point. And so we've got to, just like our cars, take it for maintenance. And just like our cars, we've got to step back a little bit and go, okay, is this working for me? Like every time when I look back at the times of my life where I had these precancer cells and the breast cancer scare, I was not taking care of myself. I was overworking. I was fatigued. I was trying to do too many things all at once. We were building our house. We had little girls. So I was trying to be best mom, best wife, best. And there's only so much that you can do before the body starts saying, nope, not going to do it anymore. This isn't balance. It's not harmony. So this is where we want to get to, is the balance and the harmony, because we oftentimes, whether it's our mind, our bodies, or our hearts, we're in this tipping point where something's got to give, and usually the body will give, or the mind, especially with all the anxiety that's going on in the world these days. And it's huge, actually. I would say it's almost an epidemic. So there's a lot of traditional methods that can treat the surface, but you're not getting at the roots. We want to get at the root. This is the whole point of this masterclass, is to get at the root. And your nervous system needs to be part of it. It needs to make sure it's safe. So the nervous system works with the ego mind, and the ego mind will try to pull us back into old identity, pull us back into the patterns, pull us back into what's not working, because that's become our comfort zone. So it sounds strange and weird, but it's because it's what we're used to. So when we're used to being used and abused and traumatized and made to feel a certain way, especially as children, that becomes part of who we are, and we're used to it. This is why alcoholics and abusers usually produce alcoholic and abusers, because it's what we're used to. So when we become conscious and we start investigating our health journeys and getting into the reasons why, then it makes more sense why. So ego mind wants to pull you back into that comfort zone, pull you back into what some people would call like the glass ceiling. So you have a ceiling of how much money you're going to make. You have a ceiling of where your health can be. You have a ceiling with what you allow love into your life. There's that ceiling where we keep butting up against it. It's because we're not safe when we go beyond it. So when we go beyond it, ego mind's going, oh my God, I don't know who this is. I don't know how to deal with this. So it pulls us back down. So again, that shows up in different areas. Jennifer, it sounds like for you, it's gone from the health to the love to the money, right? So these are the ceilings that you're trying to break through, and your system's just not ready to hold space for more. So we not want to get your system ready for that. So healing is not forcing your body to change. It's listening to what it needs to feel safe enough to change. So when your body feels heard, safe, supported, it naturally begins to unwind and release a lot of these things. A lot of it gets locked in at the cellular level, and the emotions are a piece of this. So there was this article that I read on two scientists who had taken some participants. They put a piece of DNA in a test tube, had the person hold the test tube. They had them close their eyes and pull up a negative memory that made them feel bad, and either angry or sad or some kind of negative emotion. They took that DNA out of the test tube and looked at it under the microscope. And under the microscope, the DNA had altered. It had become disfigured. They took the same DNA, put it back into the test tube, and had them hold it again and pull up a positive memory and feel happy and joy and all the things. They took that DNA, put it back into under the microscope, and the DNA had been altered.
I believe it. I believe it's true.
Yeah, how powerful is that? Like things don't have to change, stay the same is the bottom line. And we don't have to be positive all the time. So there's this new phrase that I'm learning about called positive toxicity. Not a clue. And I think what happens is that we get into, oh, I can't think bad thoughts, I can't feel bad things. Like, no, you can think bad thoughts, you can think bad, you can feel bad. There's nobody telling you can't, because it's part of the human experience. And we don't want to dwell in it. Like, how long do we want to stay in that energy? When I separated from my ex-husband, I was angry for a long time, angry, and to the point where I couldn't even talk to him. Like, I was just done. And then it went from angry to sad for a long time. But I could still live, I could still laugh, I could still hold master classes, I could still build my business, I could still treat my clients. It didn't stop me. And it's because I moved through it and with it. So we don't want to resist it. We don't want to push it off to the side, because this is often what happens, is that most of us push our emotions off to the side and we don't deal with it. We put it under the proverbial rug, and then it raises, it becomes a beast, because there's only so much we can take, and our bodies can take, and our minds can take. So I talked about this analogy of a balloon. So you have a balloon, you blow it up, and in here is all the negative energy and all the negative feelings and thoughts and stories and beliefs that we have. and we blow up the balloon, and the balloon's being blown up because we have more experiences that create more of these things, and we're feeling bad and we're feeling all the things, and we blow it up again by having another experience that adds more to it. And then we have a choice at this point. Are we going to let the valve out and let it come down by doing some releasing and healing of these things and dealing with it? Or are we going to allow ourselves to take the chance and blow it up again, and then it bursts? And then when it bursts, it shows up as anxiety and overwhelm, or burnout, or an illness, or something that is going to have to get our attention so we can come back into harmony. I hope this makes sense.
Yes, definitely.
Good. So this is why it's not your fault. This is why you're not stuck forever. And this is why today we're going to begin rewriting your story from the root up. So we're going to meet your body. We're going to do a little activation before we get into the healing bit. So you want to close your eyes. And we're going to take some nice sleep, slow belly breaths in through your nose, hold for 4, exhale for 4, out through your mouth, and pause for 4. And silently ask your body, where are you still working hard to protect me? Notice what you notice. Is there a tightness anywhere? A heavy feeling? Maybe just an area where you feel a little twinge. Any area that feels closed off, guarded, or stuck. Maybe a physical.
My chest feels very constricted. And my throat like blocked.
Okay. So take a nice deep breath into those areas without trying to change anything, just witness it. And then silently invite your body by saying, body, you don't have to hold this alone anymore. I'm listening now. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And this feeling you just noticed, that's the door. And when we work at the root level, this is where the unraveling begins. And we'll get into something a little deeper in a little bit. How did that feel, Jennifer?
Good. I did feel like a little bit of a loose, the tension in my chest felt less.
Yeah, there's still some throat energy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So you just access a part of you that's been working quietly behind the scenes for years, maybe even decades, trying to keep you safe. And here's the truth. When you begin loving awareness, bring loving awareness to the root. When you stop fighting your body and start listening, healing, real lasting healing. It isn't possible. It's not, it isn't it just possible? It becomes inevitable. So we can heal. That's the bottom line. And we can heal ourselves. There is an inner position that I have no doubt is in there. And if we work with the body, then we can heal ourselves. So what we're going to do is just go through a little bit more, reinforcing what I've mentioned about the manifestation and my M.U.S.E method. We go deeper with the mindset, because there are beliefs that are still keeping us away from what you desire, your health and your well-being. And we work with the universal laws, as I mentioned, and it all starts and ends with you. So you've got to do the self-care. You've got to figure out how to love yourself again. You've got to learn to trust yourself and your body. So it no longer holds you back. And then the energetic piece. So, like I mentioned earlier, your thoughts, your feelings, your stories, the beliefs that you have, the identity you have, all has an energetic frequency, and it gives off a vibration, and it will attract it. So it's just like a magnet. So if your aura is mostly positive and it's healthy and it's in balance, then what are you going to attract more of? Healthy, more balanced things in your life, feeling good. If your vibration is more negative, angry, disappointed, what's going to attract? More things to be angry about, more things to be disappointed about, more things. So we want to shift the energy from that space, that negative space, into more of a positive. Now, the mind being positive, and this is where I guess the toxicity part of it is not like discarding any of the negative emotions. Got to feel those first, but we move through them faster because we allow them to come to and through us. So it's like, oh, I'm having a sucky day. So today I decide it's going to be a Netflix day. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to do what I need to do at the best I can and just binge watch Netflix, but make it a choice. This is the difference. When we're not choosing, then this is where the guilt and the shame comes in. So we feel guilty because we're being lazy, and we feel bad because we feel like we're not strong enough and we should know better and do better. But if it's a choice, you're allowing yourself to have this day or moment. It could be an hour and a half to watch a movie just to make you feel better, then fine. But again, it's got to be a choice. This is the difference. And then guilt and shame won't come into it because you're deciding, this is what I'm going to do. And how can you feel guilty about deciding that you want to just binge Netflix for a couple of hours because that's what feels good to you? It's always about making yourself feel good. So if in the sadness, what's going to make you feel good is doing that, do it. If in your sadness, what's going to make you feel good is cry for an hour and curl up in bed, do it. If what in your sadness, what makes you feel good is going for a nice walk and or talking to a friend and bitching and complaining and moaning and groaning, do it. I promise you afterwards, you'll feel so much better, but make it a decision. So this is how I've been able to heal through a lot of the process that I've been going through with my ex-husband for the last 6 years, because it's been tough. And there's been a lot of times where I've been sad and upset and disappointed, and I've allowed myself to heal it, to feel it. I've cried more in the last year and a half than I probably have in my 57 years. And that's okay. It used to mean in my mind that it was weak, but now I see the strength in it because I allowed it to go through me. What used to happen is if we had an argument, it would take me out of the game for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month or so, where I was stuck in that energy and I was focused on what happened. I was ruminating over what happened, and what he should have done and could have done, and what I should have done and could have done. And I wasn't moving. I was staying stuck in it. So now it's this. Quicker through these things. when we're practicing them and we're aware of them and we're allowing ourselves for it to come to and through us and then out. That's the process that is healthy and normal. And we weren't taught that. So again, there's no judgment or criticism because most of us were taught stiff upper lip. I'll give you something to cry for. What other phrases were there? Well, as a boy, it's like, oh, well, what are you crying for? You're going to be weak, just toughen up. I think I also had girls because unfortunately that's what I was taught. So I would have been brutal with boys. So I'm grateful that I had girls. Okay. So we really want to just stay in the energy of allowing and processing, and then we make our moves after we've gone through what we've gone through, because it's also very cathartic. So I was doing an exchange last week with a colleague of mine in the Akashic Records, and I was feeling pretty good, actually. I was feeling pretty excited. She opened my records, and the record keeper said I was doing very well. There's a piece of me that wasn't doing so well, and I cried through most of that session. And it was okay. I didn't fight it. I just allowed it to come through because clearly it needed to come through, right? So if we want to be disappointed, allow yourself to be disappointed. And now what? So you've been disappointed. So now what? What's the next step? What's the next move? Who are you going to be now? Who do you want to be now? Where do you want to go now? We don't want to allow it to keep us back, because again, ego mind is going to keep us into that comfort zone or what we're used to. And what we're used to is staying in the energy of it. And I was, because my mom was a victim. And so as the victim, things are happening to you. It's coming at you. It's coming at you. It's coming at you. And you're just trying to survive and push things away, push things away, push things away. And now with this work, I know that things are happening for me. So if this is happening for me, now what? If this is happening for me, now what? What's my next move? What do I do now? Who am I going to be now? It's all in our control. And we have to take the control back. So on that note, we're going to do some cord cutting.
Great.
Okay, so get nice and comfy again. We're going to change your breathing again. Get you nice and grounded. Seeing roots coming through your feet and your seat, going down, down, down into Mother Earth, wrapping around a beautiful large crystal of choice. And on the next breath, you're bringing up this earth energy into your body, grounding you, making you feel more solid, more rooted. And this earth energy moves up your body. And coming down from God's source, the universe, your higher power, is this beautiful white loving light coming into the crown, into your body, down along the spine, awakening all the chakras, making sure all the chakras are spinning in the right direction at the same speed and the same diameter. and settling in your heart space. Healing the heart, loving the heart, surrounding the heart. And on the next deep inhale, this love light energy courses through the entire body, from your head to the tip of your fingers, to the tips of your toes. I'm going to get you to see a cutting tool of choice. It could be scissors, it could be a machete, it could be a sword, it could be a knife. Whatever you're seeing, sensing, feeling, or just knowing. And you're going to add a color. Ask for a color to be shown. It could be pink, white, purple, black. It could be rainbow color. And you're going to ask for it to be made bigger and brighter still. And we're going to cut cords in the back, top of the head. Cutting any cords that are attached to us from your childhood, your past, or your present, that have held you back, kept you stuck, debilitated you mentally, emotionally, physically, or disempowered you in any way. Cutting. Keep cutting. Now we're going to cut at the back of the head. Any cords, again, attached, that keeping you stuck, holding you back, debilitating you, or disempowering you. Across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness, and beyond. Cutting. Safe to let it go. It's safe for it no longer to have power over you. You are safe. Coming down the back of the neck, back of the upper shoulders, down the back of the arms to the fingertips. Cutting any feelings of the weight of the world, any heaviness, any burdens, any rules that you've made along the way, especially in regards to your parents. I'll never be this. I'll never be that. And that maybe has put you in a bit of a box and cut off some supply of harmony. Cutting. Cutting down into the back, into the low back, anywhere you feel like you've been stabbed in the back, walked all over, trudged on, made to feel less than, not good enough, not worthy, not deserving. Cutting across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness, time and beyond. Keep cutting. Lots of energy here. Keep cutting. Cutting deep within the cellular level, generational, DNA, genetic, or karmic and energetic fields. Keep cutting. Cutting down to the pelvis, down the legs, to the feet. Cutting any masculine energy that feels like it's pulling you backwards, especially on the right side. deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic or karmic and energetic fields, cutting, cutting, cutting. You hear me yawn, I'm just releasing. And cutting now in the front of the face, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, and the jaw. Anything you've seen or used your senses to experience where it's keeping you stuck, holding you back, debilitating you or disempowering you in any way, cutting, cutting, cutting. Deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic or karmic and energetic fields, keep cutting. And cutting now into the throat chakra. Anything said, unsaid, things that you've swallowed that were said to you, or you wanted to say and didn't feel safe enough to express. Where you're not being your authentic self, where it feels unsafe to be who you meant to be, to speak your truth. Cutting deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic or karmic and energetic fields across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness, time and beyond. Cutting. Anywhere you don't feel like your authentic self. Coming now into the upper chest. Down the arms to the fingertips. Anywhere where you felt like you were stepped on, used as a doormat. Anyone who doesn't feel or see or appreciate who you are, and be grateful for who you are, and make you feel less than or unsafe to be showing your greatness, heaviness in the chest, restriction. Cutting across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness, time and beyond. It's safe to let it go. Safe to let this person, this part of you that got you to where you are now, to be gone. She's not needed anymore. She was like an old handbag or a pair of slippers that you just don't want to let go because they're comfortable. It's safe to step into that new version of you, to honor and know the truth. Coming into your heart space, anywhere where you feel like you have to put up walls, you have to have your armor, protective layer, masks on, because it doesn't feel safe otherwise. You're just guarding your heart against, but not actually living and loving fully. Anticipating the worst. Anticipating when they will break your heart. Looking for the next shoe to drop. Clearing this across all dimensions, planes, times, levels of consciousness, and beyond, deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic or karmic and energetic fields. Cutting, cutting, cutting. Keep cutting in the heart, around the heart. Coming into the solar plexus now, which is just below the rib cage in the center, above the belly button. This is your power center, your identity. Cutting, cutting, cutting across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness, time and beyond, past, present, and future. It's safe to let go of the old version of you. The version of you that struggled with health, the version of you that struggled in love, the version of you that struggled with money. It's safe to let her go. Thank her for getting you here. And be now the version of you that has it all. It's safe to have it all. You are meant to have it all. It is your birthright. Coming down around the organs, tendons, ligaments, nerves, muscles, bones, blood, lymph, arteries, and veins. Any areas that are out of alignment or not in harmony, they're not working together, that are misaligned. Cutting, cutting, cutting. Deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic work, karmic and energetic field. Keep cutting. It's safe to let it all go. No longer serves you. Cutting anything that's keeping you stuck, holding you back, debilitating you mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually. And disempowering you in any way. Cutting, cutting, cutting. Safe to let it all go. And coming down now into the legs, into the sacral chakra. This is your pleasure, your creativity, your purpose. You're allowing. Anywhere you're not allowing good health, anywhere you're not allowing love, anywhere you're not allowing money. Cutting, cutting, cutting across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness and beyond. Anywhere where you feel like you're not safe to be in struggle, that you're not safe not to be in disharmony, where you're not safe when you're in your fullness. Cutting, cutting, cutting. Deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic work, karmic and energetic fields. Keep cutting. You're coming down into the root now. Cutting into the safety, security, resilience, patience, love, money, health, wealth, security, connection, relationships, love, or family, friends, anywhere there's an imbalance. Cutting, cutting, cutting across all planes, dimensions, levels of consciousness, time and beyond. Keep cutting. Cutting deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic or karmic and energetic fields. Cutting. Cutting down the front of the legs to the feet. Anywhere you feel like you're taking one step forward and 3 steps back. Or that something's holding you back. Cutting, cutting, cutting. Cutting on the right side now, across the head, the ear, the face, the jaw, into the neck. Masculine energy, remembering that masculine energy can come from a female as well. Cutting, cutting, cutting anything heard or overheard. Anything that you wanted to block out. That got buried deep. Cutting, cutting, cutting deep within the cellular level, generational DNA, genetic or karmic and energetic fields. Keep cutting. And cutting now down the right arm, down the rib cage, down the pelvis, to the right leg, to the foot. And cutting on the left side now. Feminine energy from the side of the head, the ear, the neck, the jaw, the face. Cutting what no longer serves you, holds you back, debilitating you mentally, emotionally, physically, disempowering you in any way. Keep cutting. And things hit, heard, or overheard, stories that were told. It's safe to let it go. It's safe to release what no longer serves you. Coming down into the left shoulder, the arm, and the fingertips. Left rib cage, down the leg to the foot. Keep cutting. Cutting at the bottom of the feet now. Cross all planes, dimensions, levels, consciousness, time and being. Keep cutting. Now allow this white love light energy to fill in all the gaps and all the spaces from the cords. As you see the cords and their attachments fall to the ground, falling down, down, down into Mother Earth for purification, for transmutation and change. Turning the darkness into love and light. As you fill your body with this beautiful white love light energy. And intertwined is this golden helix where it's healing all those spaces left behind as well. Mm. And when you're ready, you can bring your awareness back to your body. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes, you can stretch. If you have a journal, or if you want to come back to this later, you might want to write down what your body showed you. What old truth are you letting go of today? And what would freedom feel like now? So what did your body show you? What old truth are you letting go of today? And what would freedom feel like now? So the version of you that showed up today, the one who let go, the one who heard her body, she's the one who's ready to stop managing and start transforming. So more questions for you to journal. What did your body reveal to you today? What are you no longer willing to carry? So we can put it down. That's a choice. And if we're not comfortable, we can always pick it back up. Not sure why we want to pick it back up, but we're human. So we have our moments that we're going to let it go down, and then you might pick it back up because, again, it feels safe. Ego mind working. How you feeling, Jennifer?
I love these questions. Tina, one clarification. So the first question was, what did my body show me? And then more recently you said, what did my body reveal? What's the difference between the two?
Well, it could have showed you like certain areas that need working on. Like you felt in the chest before, and then you felt around the throat. So
Okay.
that would show. And reveal could be like revealing certain thoughts, old mysteries that came up, and you're like, why is that coming up for me all of a sudden? Because I thought I healed that and let it go. Well, it's got some residual energy still that needs to be gone. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. No problem. How are you feeling?
I feel grounded. It's interesting. I feel grounded and floaty at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it great? It's like, yay, la 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 la. That's awesome. Any insights that you want to share? Anything that came up for you?
I'm trying to think. I was trying to think. At some point I started crying. I was trying to think what happened.
So there are a lot of things that I said. So this is channel, right? And it was meant for you because I have never said those things before.
Oh,
so
wow.
I thought it was very different. So in the recording, you definitely want to go back and listen to it, especially if it creates that crying again. It's just a form of release, right? So
Yes, of course.
that's a good thing. And you don't need to know what it was, but it's always interesting to know what it was, because then maybe you can journal about it a little bit more. But yeah, there was definitely some things in there that I have never said before. Ever.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it was interesting for me too. I was like, oh, Okay, Jennifer's got some stuff going on.
Yeah, that's great. It was spot on quite a few things. I was like, wow.
This is the amazing part, right? So again, you know, so I've had people after my sessions say, well, that was a really lovely meditation. Well, kind of is because I'm talking, but I find most people aren't comfortable in the silence. So I do talk, but I also realizing that it's the messaging that's meant for you. So if there's something that I said that we're like, oh yeah, okay, then you really want to journal that out and
Okay,
figure
yeah,
out.
definitely. I will listen to the replay for sure, the recording for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So now that you felt the shift and you know you can go deeper, if you're interested to go deeper and go deeper with me, you
Okay.
can message me, you can contact me through Messenger, which is where we had. If you want a link that, you know, you can book a call with me, that's also an option, whether you're watching the replay or you're live. And you can let me know what your experience was. I would really appreciate that no
Oh,
matter
yes,
what.
of
And
course.
and you can maybe even like do a little testimonial about how you felt before and how you felt after. And so my program is 3 months. It's called the M.U.S.E method, which is what we went through today. So M.U.S.E is mindset, universal laws, self-care, self-love, self-trust. And then E is the energy work. So I combine them all because I found like this is the theme that has gone through all my healings and my coaching. So this is what we really go into, and we customize it to you. So because it's one-to-one, obviously it's all about you. And it's what I find intriguing. Again, we're human beings, and it's really interesting how, and as a coach, Jennifer, you know this, that we say one thing and then all of a sudden we're doing something different. So they're
Yes.
contradicting in our energies. Well, that's going to keep us back. So we often don't see our what's holding us back. There's blind spots we have, and the power of coaching is amazing. So if that's something that's interesting for you and you want to explore more, there is an application form that I'll send you, and then we'll just make sure you're a good fit, and then we can have a conversation afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. Send me everything.
Okay, sounds good. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. My inbox is there. I also have a group. If you're interested in the group chat, then let me know. I'm in there every day.
Is
So
it
my
a Facebook group or what is it?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm debating on doing a Telegram group. I just haven't, it's coming, it just hasn't landed yet.
So I just your question about so why would you say choose like Telegram over say maybe starting like getting on school? Have you thought about school?
Um, I have,
I'm not a proponent of either one. I'm just curious. I want to hear your thinking about it because the sort of thinking things I had to think about too now.
school for me, um, the programs that I've gone through with my coaches there, they, it's not as, I don't want to say the word hands-on, because it is hands-on, but it's not as quick. So for some reason, my coach doesn't seem to get the notifications very quickly, if at all. So we do once a week call, but all the stuff that I've asked her throughout the entire week gets lost. Like it's there,
Oh, that's awful.
but she doesn't get the notifications for some reason.
Huh.
So I don't know what that's all about. So with what was the other one?
Telegram.
Um, I'm in there. Like I'm having a conversation with you. I can coach through things. And I also realize Yes, school is, and also another coach that I worked with for a long time. I think it's good if you're gonna have like a series of videos
Okay.
that people can watch,
Mhm.
which I have considered, like some self-teaching part, like a DIY part
Mhm.
of working with me. I just haven't formulated it yet. There's something going on.
Sure.
Like I said, it hasn't just landed. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you want. This is where you're gonna go. So
Mhm.
we can, I'm not averse to Telegram. It'd probably be easier for me at this stage to do that versus DMs and Facebook, because my DMs get lost sometimes too.
Hmm.
And then Facebook isn't always nice to me. Yeah, hence the reason why I did the DMs, because Facebook itself, for some reason, is just not showing my stuff.
Oh my
I got
God.
get hacked in the summer,
Mm.
and then I got my account back within a week. But then every other day it seemed like it was questioning if I was who I was. So I had to send in a video, a face recognition video. Then I had to wait a couple of days for the
Oh, how frustrating.
to authorize it. And this went on for like 3 months.
Oh my gosh. Tina, how
Yeah.
frustrating.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I had like good momentum going into things, and people were really engaging in my stuff. And I went from that to wah wah.
Yeah.
That's why I decided this round I was just gonna go into the DMs and hit the people that I know need the work, because the universe works in amazing ways. And I trusted that those who wanted to show up will show up. So
That's
that's what I
amazing. I love it. I love it. You have my email address, correct?
I do not. So you can
Okay.
DM me,
Well, do
and
you want me to
then
just put it in the chat here now? Do you have it?
yeah, that works.
Okay.
Great.
So I'm not, I'm thinking about this. Well, I'm starting a Facebook group, but prior to this, I'm never on Facebook. So that's the email's the best way to reach me always.
Yeah, and so groups, I love groups. I've switched it up a couple of times, and it doesn't seem to have mattered much, as far as some people will fall off and some people will come back, and that's all good. So yeah, Facebook group I totally agree with. And if you know what you want and you're very clear with what that is, then the groups can do very well.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I want to help a group. I want to have a group for women business owners, helping them to feel empowered around sales.
Yes, that will fly. It will fly.
Because I know I mean, instead of being like anxious and uncertain and dreading sales calls, like, because that's where I was. I mean, I totally get it, to like
Yeah.